Well, here's what I've been up to. I've got the construction foam, let's call it, the blue stuff, glued onto the false wall I made out of plywood. I've started shaping it. Well, step one was shaping it as to use a handsaw, like one of these puppies. And yeah, you can hack away. Then once I got it roughly the shape, it's not underneath yet. I didn't feel like rolling around under the aeroplane right now in all this blue rubbish. I moved up to one of these score and snap knives, and you can actually shape it reasonably well. Yeah, a bit like carving a turkey. There's going to be a fair bit of turkey carving happening. Here's, remember the boomerang template? Well, here it is. What we need is this red mark here to come back to there. So it's got about, that's probably about 1 inch, maybe slightly less. So we're touching on the blue here, so the blue has to be, right here, has to be cut off or machined down or whatever. Same there. Yeah, those parts where it's touching will have to be cut off, so the whole boomerang moves back. And when that happens, this line will probably disappear. Should go pretty close to disappearing anyway. Yeah, this one. Have a look at it. It sticks out a bit at the moment, but it'll eventually conform. Once that's done, then I guess we come back here somewhere, cut the jaw coat off, and start building our fiberglass from there around to probably the middle. There's a little bit in the middle that doesn't probably need to be fiberglass, but that's about all. Everything else, we get our shape nice, sand it, you know. I think I can do it. There's a lot of work in it, but I think I can do it. But yeah, messy, very messy. With regards to the painting, the wing has had its 3 coats of eco-fill, and I'm pretty happy with it. Looks pretty good. You can't see, well, if you look really hard, you can see the runs, I guess, there. But you know, a foot away, you're not going to see it. You will when I put white paint on it, and that's the next thing. Is it gets the white primer. And then, of course, the colour. These have also got their 3 coats, and I think they're not as nice as the wing, but they're not too bad. They'll be okay. And of course, they'll get their coat of white primer, and then they'll turn a burnt orange colour, the same colour as the instrument panel. That's the colour of the accents on the outside of the aeroplane. So anyway, it's happening. Might be glacial, but it's happening. Renegade's still outside. I had a little bit of a fly this afternoon. Very, very good fly, actually. There you go. Alrighty. I'm going to try and, it's a cold day today. I'm going to try and shape some of this using, well, I'll use the saw for starters, but I've got a couple of these flap wheels that goes on the angle grinder. So I'm going to try that, but I think it's going to be pretty vicious. So, and I'll probably wind up with dust and stuff shaved off with a score and snap knife. So imagine that these things are going to be a lot worse. But anyway, let's give it a go and see how we go. Actually, I'll cut those corners off first. You'll probably see just how easy this is. This is screwed on and glued, but I actually need very little of this at all. There'll only be a little bit in the corner probably. But yeah, you can just chop it off. Really, really easy. And I'll take those big screws out when I start getting close. There we go, that's better. We've got a long way to go, miles to go. It's getting closer here, but it's still a long way away. I'll try and do some more roughing around the edges here to try this this flap wheel, to try it out. Alrighty, we'll do this bit first, try and bring it around. That screw is either going to have to come out or go further in. Oh yeah, that's fairly vicious. It seems like it's melting the foam. Anyway, let's play on. This is glued in as well as being screwed, so let's take the screws out. Hopefully it won't fall off. These are 2.5 inch screws. So yeah, pretty serious sort of a screw. But it just screws one piece of foam into another piece of foam. It's not actually screwed into anything solid. And there's another one here. It might as well come out as well. Oops. There we go. I can always put them back in if necessary. Let's have a look. Oh, okay. This has to go back that way about to a bit over 2.5 inches. So there's a fair bit. That probably all of that will come off, or most of it. Well, here I am at the end of the, must be the third work session, I think. I've got me blue, this stuff, foam. I don't actually know what it's called. but it's a blue foamy material. Day 1 was glue them all together. Day 2 and day 3 today was try and get them to the shape I need. This is probably the right shape for about the top, probably from about here up, about the top 2/3 probably, and the bottom third's not. The bottom third's still got some work to go, but it's okay, it's coming along. Now remember, I'll go around this side. Don't take fright at my beautiful hat. The engine accessories, the magnetos and the distributors, the carburetor, ignition coils, all that sort of thing will live about between the firewall's about there somewhere. It'll live between about there and here somewhere, in that, whatever that is, maybe 8 or 10 inches, something like that. The engine itself, the actual cylinders, the cylinders will probably be about here, roughly about here. The exhaust will clear this by about 1 inch once this is fiberglass. Pretty soon, within the next couple of days, I'll smooth all this off. It gets painted. It gets painted so that I can then put this filler, this brown coloured filler, I can put that all over and then paint it and sand it back to where I want it, and then paint it again, just with second-hand house paint, which I've got plenty of that in the hanger here. Then we start laying the fiberglass over that. This bit doesn't, in the middle here, which looks a bit rough from, if you can see it, it actually gets cut out. It doesn't actually do anything. This piece in the middle, this is where the actual crankcase of the engine and magnetos will stick through there. They'll go through this. The fiberglass will actually join to the fiberglass that's already existing, and it'll come up over here and finish probably somewhere around here. Actually, I want to make it a bit bigger than I need it, and then I'll cut it back so that it fits the engine sort of as close as I can get without touching. So that's where I am. That's basically a daily update for day number 3, or work session number 3, I think we call it. And yeah, that's it. Weather's pretty poxy, so there's no point in looking at trying to go flying. Well, I could. There's no wind. The Renegade's happy enough to go, so maybe I could. But it's cold. For me, it's very cold. Canadians are not allowed to laugh. Okay, catch you later. All right, we're down to the finer detail now. Hopefully, that'll probably take as long as it did to take the major stuff off. It's a little bit high here, and you can see it's a little bit high here. My boomerang needs to go back that way about, I don't know, a bit over 1/8 of an inch, I suppose, something like that. Now, I was fairly fortunate that my neighbour, who is an absolute professional fiberglass person, he stepped in with some tools that make the job way, way, way easier than what I was doing. One of them is this serious, looks like something from a samurai movie. It's really a serious carving knife is all it is, and I'm not using this this scalloped edge. I'm using the normal serrated edge that you'll get on a carving knife. It cuts the it cuts this foam really easily, and it'll bend slightly as you're doing it, so you can actually carve in. Like I want to take that bit off there. No problem. No problem at all. It's a good tool. And look at that, I'm almost back to the line. By the time I sand that off, it'll be perfect. Okay, so just a serrated carving knife. Works way better than that stupid flap wheel on the grinder. Forget about that. Forget about that altogether. It just melts the foam and doesn't really do anything. I snookered myself a little bit by putting the glue. I put the glue in certain places where I still had to sand, and all your tools do is get bogged in the glue. So, not a good idea. Not a very good idea at all. This tool, which for some reason or other is called a surf foam, as in surface. Not surf foam, surf form. In other words, it forms the surface, I guess. It's a rasp, I guess, is the English word for it. It's brilliant. It hooks into the foam really, really well. I'll try and put you to where that bit we were working on before. See if you can see that. And it just sands it off really, really well. Yeah, now I'm probably... No, still got a bit to go. Oh, okay, here's my high spot now. It's moved. It's not down there anymore, it's up here. Okay. Take that little bit off. And it's moving up even higher. It's moving up here somewhere. Bit of glue that I'm hitting there, which really clogs this rasp up no end. But anyway, that's moving. Still got a bit sort of here to do. Rot-row. Yep, found the screw. Hope I didn't damage this thing. So, anyway, good tool, works well. It's fairly gentle. With these screws, they don't screw. They really only screw into the next sheet, and so all I'm going to do with that screw is just screw it in a little bit further if I can, like that. Yeah. So now it's 1/4 of an inch down the hole. And of course, there's no way in this wide world I need to take 1/4 of an inch off here, so that won't pose a problem again. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to keep. I'll keep going and work my way around. It is, believe it or not, it is reasonably close most of the way around. That needs some work here in this area, but anyway. Once I've got it down to either where I want it or even slightly under where I want it, the objective then is to paint it. Just paint it with, I've got some leftover paint from other projects. then put this filler on. I just wanted to see how well the filler would work and how it goes and how it works. So I put a bit of it on, but I didn't want it yet. I'll fill it according to Malcolm, my expert fiberglass person. We can use this as a screed, so I can put this filler on and then screed it off like you would concrete, and then sand it. So I can use this as a tool to get the filler fairly even. At the end of the day, I really don't think it matters all that much, honestly. You know, it'll be reasonable, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not part of the aerodynamics of the aeroplane. A little bit of the aerodynamics for the engine cooling, yes, but not the aerodynamics of the aeroplane. So it should be okay. If this side was, you know, a quarter of an inch or half an inch different to that side, it's not going to make a huge difference. Now it won't be, it might be a couple of millimetres different on one side to the other, but that's about all it would be, if you're lucky. It'll be pretty close, it'll be very, very close indeed. But it doesn't have to be perfect, that's what I'm getting at. So anyway, I'll trundle along doing this and hopefully get on to something a bit different next week. This should be in tonight's weekly update. Okay, that's it. Have a good one.